Hey everyone, and welcome to another solid episode of Mitch's Minute. Today we've actually got quite an interesting episode for you guys. We decided to kind of do a little offshoot episode in which our main topic today is going to be more about like building something up and kind of making just making an idea of what we would like to see. I'm sure if you saw the title of the episode, it's literally called "Let's Make Our Own Persona Game."
Yeah.
And we'll get to that in just a little bit. I just thought that it could be a fun way to kind of, have something a little bit different. Today I'm joined with Amanda and Nate again.
Hello.
What's up?
And if you haven't tuned into the show before, in this show, it's literally just a show that I've made in which I get to just talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about for like an hour. Like an hour every week.
Like an hour or two, depends.
Yeah, 40 minutes to an hour. It just depends on like how in depth we go with our conversation topics. And yeah, so that's pretty much the podcast. I feel like I need to start doing that more often. There's apparently like people who will come in who have no idea what the fuck this is. And I mean, there's not a lot of podcasts that are hosted on YouTube. Most people pick like Spotify or, iTunes podcasts. And they'll go.
I feel like most podcasts, it's like if they are uploaded to YouTube, they're like it's a video podcast, not just an audio-based one.
There's a couple audio ones. I think Game Grumps ran one a couple years back, and I think Team 4 Stars one is it's just like audio based. I think if there is like a visual aspect, it's like maybe like they'll have like as my voice talks, so does it booms the color, or has a little white thing and like pops up, something like that. But anyways, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk today. We've got an episode lined up for you, and we're gonna kind of get into it right after we do our little bit about channel updates. Alright, so channel news this week is pretty basic and simple. We've got the same stuff we normally have for you. We have Fire Emblem on Tuesday and Persona on Thursday, and that's it.
Channel updated.
Channel updated.
And that's it.
Because we would normally do an episode of Fire Emblem on Friday, but we canceled it because 2 of the 3 members of the group are going to be consumed by the Wiggly of video games, Animal Crossing.
This is a call out.
It's not a call out. There's nothing wrong with like setting something aside. Like if there was a movie that I really wanted to go see on like opening day, I would take Friday. I'd be like, all right, guys, figure it out, and like I'd fucking go and watch the movie.
It's like, fuck you guys, sort your shit out later.
Yeah, half of
good luck, bitches.
Half of okay, so I'm gonna word it like this, and it can be taken the way that you want to take it. It doesn't matter. When we were Velvet Room gaming, I don't know. I feel like I was a lot more of a hard ass on this kind of shit, but it's more like, I don't know. I think if like last year, like I would be like, oh, I gotta come with like something to supplement or something to figure out. But I mean, I'm good. like I don't know, like life's already got me like 1,000 times more things that I've got to worry about. And if you guys want to take a day off to play your cute new game, I'm not gonna fucking be that upset about it. like have fun, enjoy yourselves. I can use that day to line something up to be like, all right, so I know for a fact that I have a game after Fire Emblem that I want to play, and Nate has a game that we kind of have to play. And we have to figure out what we're gonna do with that and what days we're gonna take. And so I think I'll just work on that. So I don't know. It's like it's great to have like a full week of episodes, sure, but at the same time, I don't know. This is supposed to be fun, first and foremost. So I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, play your games, have fun, I'm sure everyone else will be playing like Animal Crossing, so even if we did a stream on like Friday, it'll be like everyone will be watching and playing Animal Crossing. So I'm not, there was the joke when fuck, what was it? There was a joke when oh my god, what the fuck game was it?
I have no idea.
I can't remember. Oh my god, this is like actually like a little bit upsetting me.
Describe it.
Okay, no. Okay, so this is deep wounds right now. But there was a game a couple years back where it came out for like the 3DS, and the joke was whenever we would start a recording session, I would just put its music into the microphone, like I'd open it up and like play it.
Right.
But I can't remember. That's how good the game was. I can't remember what it was. I want to say it was Pokemon or something like that, but I mean X and Y came out in 2013, and I didn't play Sun and Moon. So, anyways, the joke is destroyed. But
it was Hearthstone, I think.
Was it Hearthstone? Yeah,
I think it was Hearthstone.
Was it Hearthstone?
Oh
my god.
Because I remember sometimes we would be like talking or doing something, and I think it was like specifically when Nate was piloting, and then all of a sudden we just hear the tavern music pop in.
Yeah, the tavern music when you open it up. That's like right. A fucking asshole. Right.
That being said, before we go into any of the other topics we have lined up tonight, which is the two other topics we have lined up tonight, can I just talk about Hearthstone real quick? Can I just talk about Blitzchung and what's going on with that?
Yeah.
So it's in April. It'll be his 6 months will be up, and if anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, Blitzchung was kind of the forefront of my personal boycott of Blizzard products. And he says he's coming back to Hearthstone after everything that's happened. I was hoping that he was gonna pick up something else, or he was gonna pick up Legends of Runeterra, but it's still in its beta, and who knows if that's available worldwide or not.
I mean, it's also the thing he made his livelihood on.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. But I guess it's just I think it's interesting because he's going back. And a lot of people who started, doing their boycott essentially created a deadline for themselves. We're gonna boycott, but only until Blitzchung was allowed to come back. Then I'm all yours, Sugar Daddy Blizzard. And I'm not gonna lie, it's tempting. It's tempting as fuck because I've been missing games like Overwatch and Hearthstone. But I think I'm gonna keep up my personal one, even though I know it's not gonna make the biggest fucking dent ever. I gave Blizzard $30-$40 a paycheck for cards or loot boxes or just some cosmetic shit.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how much money I've given to Blizzard. That's a number I don't want to know the answer to.
And, I mean, that's the thing, it's a company in which we both were really into it. We've talked about on this specific podcast many a time about how we enjoyed that, we enjoyed their properties and their stories. I was literally talking about Arthas the other fucking day, and how wonderfully done that Paladin storyline is. But at the end of the day, I still don't agree with with who they've got. Alan Brack, I think. It was I don't agree with any of their shit that they've been doing, and until something changes, I'm probably going to continue the boycott. So,
which is entirely fair.
Yeah, it sucks though. Activism's hard, Amanda.
I'm aware.
I just like the idea of Mitch and I going back and playing Overwatch or something, and then we get mad all over again. They're and it's right, we didn't need the boycott to not fucking play this game, right?
Oh, that's right. I fucking hated this. I forgot.
Right, this game really made me mad. Fuck.
God.
Oh, that's right. This game made me miserable. How could I have forgotten?
I mean, if anything, it's like it almost feels like a natural progression because I like in terms of Hearthstone, I wasn't liking the direction of the new expansions. So I kind of was starting to play wild format mostly.
Right.
So it almost like naturally lined up with this idea of like, well, you're not wrong, and then I just stopped, But
Yeah, and then like what? I didn't even really make decks anymore. I just played fucking Whizbang.
yeah.
And that's all I did, which I just got random decks to play each round.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, if other people, like, that's not me shitting on other people and, like, being like, oh, you guys aren't for the cause. Like, you guys clearly had, like, your moment, and I super understand where they're coming from, for a lot of people, Blitzchung was the guy that they were boycotting for, and his suspension's going to be up, so
And
why
he's
not?
willingly going back.
So why not support him? And I get that. I super do. But I don't think I can. And like I said, it sucks. This isn't something that I'm doing very easily. I can't tell you how many times I look back and I'm like, fuck, I spent a lot of shitty amounts of money just like buying cards in Hearthstone. I like really loved my wild hunter deck, and there's moments in which I kind of wish I could just play that deck. And the problem is I've literally played other card games to try to get that same like rush of like playing spell only hunter. It's literally one of my favorite decks I've ever like worked with. And it sucks. Like, and that's all it boils down to. It's a sucky feeling of just, like you can't go back to this thing because at the end of the day, fucking Blizzard still is a shitty company right now. And I ultimately all I want is just for some changes to happen because guess what? Michael Chu fucking left Overwatch. He left the company. He left Blizzard. I guess he wrote whatever his last thing he had to write was, and then he just fucking bailed as like the story writer for Overwatch. And I know some of you are laughing right now and saying, "What story?" But like his baby's done in his eyes, and that's kind of sad, all things considering. It's like Tetsuya Nomura bailing on Kingdom Hearts 2 before it launches. It's like,
yeah.
Or the feeling of that when like Kojima got like kicked from Metal Gear. And then 5 came out, and then they try to like scrub his name out, like that whole shit. But yeah. So, anyways, I know that this probably isn't what you wanted to click the video on for, but this, it's just something that was on my mind, and it's definitely one of those things that as it continues, and as Blizzard continues doing more shitty things like fucking Warcraft Reforged, and I was actually interested in playing Warcraft 3 Reforged, and then I saw like that the thing I wanted, which was the cutscenes, is no longer a thing. Like they made that for advertising purposes, and then they just bailed. Everyone was expecting these like in-depth cutscenes with Arthas and fucking all these characters and shit. Fucking Illidan and all the classic World of Warcraft storylines, and nope, fucked it up again. I just hope that something changes, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're actually talking about 2 subjects, but the first one's gonna be kind of quick, so we're gonna kind of brush through it real quick. So, I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but I'm a big fan of the Starkid productions they have on YouTube. Starkid, very famous for their Harry Potter musicals. We literally just watched one today, which was Starship, and Holy Musical Batman, Trail to Oregon, Twisted. Twisted's like a huge one for them. Firebringer, My Dick and Me.
God damn it.
The guy who didn't like musicals. and their latest one, Black Friday. We can't really go too hard into Black Friday because I mean, obviously, it would spoil half the fun of it.
Yeah.
But the return of some of the actors and for this project specifically is just wonderful. Everything about this one is just very well done. Some of it's very misleading, and I love that part. The start of the second act threw me for a fucking loop.
Yeah. I thought that was super fucking weird.
And I loved it. I fucking I don't know. It was just great, just wonderful. But I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? We all watched it what was it, Saturday, Friday? It's Friday. Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Ironically. No, I really enjoyed it. I didn't see a lot of the things coming, and it's Jeff Blim,
Yeah,
right?
Jeff Blim.
Yeah, Jeff Blim. I fucking love everything that man fucking writes music wise. I don't know what it is about it, but I just appreciate a lot of his songs. So I don't know what to tell you. Without spoiling anything, it's a great musical. If you like Starkid, you'll like this. If you like the guy who didn't like musicals, you'll like this. If you like a darker edge on shit too.
Also,
like
an unspoken continuity. I think because that's something that threw me for a loop. And I think other people already knew about that, but I just didn't. I was, I guess, an ignorant bitch on that one. It was just there is a slight continuity with this.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either. But so Mass Gamer Joker asks, The Invisible Man, have you seen it or not? No. No, unfortunately, I have not.
Tabby is actually, ironically, right now at the movie theaters with a friend watching The Invisible Man.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was curious about it, but I want to know what she thinks, and then I'll go see it. Hardcore worst case. Oh god, it's really hard to not mention the fact that the entire area that I live in is super stressed out about a certain unnamed virus that apparently we can talk about it. We're not fucking monetized. The coronavirus. Everyone's fucking freaking out about the fucking coronavirus.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh god. Apparently, Regal Cinema made it so that only a certain amount of people can be in the theater at a time. So yeah, I think it's 50 or something.
The fuck?
Yeah, good luck, Chuck, everyone. Good luck. I don't mean that sarcastically. I'm being very genuine.
Well, freaking what I seen on the news yesterday or the day before that there's more cases in Queensland now, and I'm just no. No.
That's right.
Don't do this to me. Everyone's gonna freak the fuck out. I don't need it.
Dude, where we're at, people they swarmed these grocery stores and stuff like that. I've had the last 2 days off from work, and it's been a situation where I'm man, I really don't want to know. I really don't want to know how work's doing right now. But anyways, Nate, what did you think about Black Friday? Not to kind of swivel too hard from that conversation.
Oh no, that's completely fair. See, I have a little bit of the issue. I don't know when I jumped in because I didn't watch from the very beginning is the issue.
You jumped in maybe 15-20 minutes in.
Yeah, so it's I didn't get the stuff at the beginning, which how most Starkid stuff works is you don't need all of the context, obviously, but
it helps.
Just seeing that the ball roll as it goes along kind of thing. But from what I watched, it's I enjoyed it a lot. Character songs It's like, I think I'm just turning into a fucking weenie because I just cry so easily.
Okay.
Like, that song at the end got me, but I feel like that's just because I connected it with a character that I've made. I don't know.
That's fair. It's remember, man. Remember what Commander Hub or not Commander Hub, Uncle Hub. I turned the two characters together. God damn it. Either
It's
way,
Commander Up.
Yeah, Commander Up or Uncle Hub from Secondhand Line. They would tell you it's okay to cry.
Both characters.
Both characters. One might just be buff Solid Snake, but it's okay.
What do you mean?
Buffer Solid Snake.
Yeah.
Like jacked Solid Snake. Fucking okay. So, but yeah. So the musical's like pretty solid. Like I said, if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend. If you have not seen Black Friday, or if you're not familiar with Starkid's productions, watch The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals first, and then watch Black Friday. You'll get way more out of it. You'll get more mileage out of this one if you do it that way.
Yeah.
All right, which kind of leads us into our main topic of the night. And something we talk about this every now and then. But hey, Amanda, me and you have played a lot of Persona games. Nate, you've played one. There's a general. Don't. Fucking.
You've played one.
There's nothing. Okay, there's nothing wrong.
I know.
Fucking okay. So.
Just the way you say it.
I might as well have said like, oh, me and Amanda, we played a couple. Nate, you okay over there? You okay? You need to talk about Persona? Was that? Yeah. Oh. Okay. Anyways, so we like Persona games. Pretty obvious. It's very obvious on this channel that we like Persona. With 6 kind of looming somewhere in the future. I say that they're gonna milk 5 for all that it's worth, and with Royale coming out in 2 weeks, here in the States at least, it's kind of gotten me in the mood, to talk about Persona. I'm not gonna pick up Royale because obviously I'm playing, Persona 5 for the channel. It's gonna be a little bit before I pick up Royale, but it looks great for what it's worth. I'm glad they did make some changes aesthetically to the game. But it got me thinking, hey, one of my favorite show bits I ever do is just kind of shooting the shit, talking about like if we could make one, we the uncultured swine of fucking the video game industry, if we could make our own game, like what would we want to make? And I think that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. So we're going to kind of break this up into different sections and talk a little bit about it one by one, but that's kind of the goal here. And we can do this in one of 2 ways. We can either make one game collaboratively, all 3 of us together, or we can kind of shoot the shit and make our own kind of ideas, what we would want to go for. Which one do you guys kind of want to pop with?
I'd like to like a collaboration might be fun. Instead of like trying to all get in our own ideas in a short amount of time.
Well, there's that, and then I feel like we all want similar things from a new Persona game, so...
Yeah, the same things we've been bitching about for, like, years.
Ever.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, so even before Persona 5, I had one of my biggest issues, and kind of going into all of this would be the setting. I'm gonna say setting and characters. While I think Persona 5 nailed exactly what I wanted in terms of like a real setting for a Persona game, which is Tokyo, and like doing it that way, one of the things that I always bitch about when it comes to characters specifically is simply why are we still high schoolers, guys? Why are we still doing it this way?
They've been
'Cause
doing it
apparent-
since 1.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, right? So let's start off. We're gonna take characters. We're gonna make that very general. Characters is gonna be our first subject today. So the first couple of Persona games came out in the 90s. And then 3 and 4 came out in the aughts. 5 came out in the 10s. And who God knows when 6 is coming out. Probably like 2025. More high schoolers. You know, like as a guy who's like kind of getting into his like 30s, I'm kind of like over high schoolers. As I assume most people my age are like kind of hopefully getting at.
I think it's mostly that, like, as we're getting older, because we've grown up with like Atlas and the Persona games, we're becoming adults. People who are into 5 or nearing becoming adults, or thinking about the future. Atlas, please make adult characters for me to love.
The worst part about it,
and be attracted to.
The worst part about it is 2 did have adult characters. Fucking like that's the like they've teased us with it. Catherine is a game that has adult characters in it. I'm about the same age as those characters in Catherine. I'm way closer to them than I am, like, the high school characters. So in my mind, obviously, I'm thinking outside of high school. I know some people are like, right, college. No, I don't want college either. Fuck that. I don't want a college game because that doesn't help. Because then we could still have characters who are like, well, I'm 17, but I'm also going into college. I'm taking whatever classes or some shit. Like, no, fuck that. I don't want any of that.
It's like, I'm an adult now. No, you're not.
Yeah, does anyone remember when Persona 5 came out and there was, like, articles and shit talking about how, like, hey, is it kind of weird that we're, like, still dating high schoolers and shit? And we're kind of sexualizing these characters?
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of fucked up, Japan? Maybe. It's like a little. We do it in the confines of our jokes, obviously, for the stream, before anyone kind of throws me under the bus on that one. We do it in the stream, but it's because we're pure gangle. Pure gangle is that age, and like it's him. It's not us. There's a slate of concrete between that, like a barrier where it's like, oh, I'm never shipping myself with Makoto. I'm shipping Ryuji with Makoto. As the thumbnail tells you.
Clearly.
So we all kind of agree that our characters should be older, but how much older?
We kind of talked a little bit about this. I want someone just out of college. Just out of college, I think, is nice and safe.
Let's clarify, and we're going to talk specifically about our main character.
Okay. So, just out of college, I'm thinking, mid-20s.
Yeah.
Mid-20s is a safe bet because, that would be around the age when you're getting out of college. And it's also that wonderful age when, oh God, A, I'm an adult. B, I'm out of school forever now. And C, I have to figure out what I'm going to do forever now. Uh-oh. And I think it's a good point in time to have, like, it based around, honestly.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I agree post-college, I think is pretty good. And then I think that what we can do from there is every other character could be in different positions in life. I think that would be a really fun thing to do. Because if we're going to take these characters and we're going to throw them into kind of like the post-school life, I think the game becomes... well, quite frankly, I think we can tackle some of the, rated M for mature fucking subjects that we kind of want to. And, I always go back to the original advertising for Persona 5. I always go back to you seek emancipation. Like that line, and what that meant. And because we were obsessed with that, like the chair, the like chairs, the little chains with the little iron, like the little iron balls at the end, you know, like all that shit. Like people were obsessed with that, you know, like just trying to decode it. And then when we got Persona 5, it like, yes, it is kind of following those ideas, but I think that like we kind of expected more. And one of the things with Persona 5 specifically and how it covered those, you know, those topics and subjects, I think one of my slight problems with it is the message became, well, the adults are corrupt. You know, you told me earlier today, Amanda, how, you know, like how corrupt Japanese like politics is just, it's fucked. It's super fucked. You know?
Oh yeah, like the justice system, they have a 90% conviction rate after you're arrested. 90 fucking percent.
Jeez.
Yeah. What the fuck, Japan?
There's a whole thing with it, you know? And I think that at the end of the day, one of the things that I guess I just want more of a Catherine vibe, you know? I want more characters like Vincent. I want more characters like Orlando and fucking Tobias, you know? Like I want more characters like that in which we have like as cool as it is in Persona 5, like I wasn't expecting anything beyond like, yeah, high school life, of course. I'm not saying that like, oh, we should have done it with those characters. No. That's perfect and fine the way that it is, you know? But I also feel like for its subject material and themes, it should have been older characters. Like in my mind, it's like, okay, so you're talking about how corrupt the, you know, adult life is and how, you know, how fucky it is that all these, you know, like Kaneshiro and fucking Kamoshida and all those characters are, but that's the generational conflict, you know. That's oh well, the shitty adults fucked you up, Gangle, and Gangle's like, I know. And like the shitty adults fucked you up, Ryuji, I know.
Like, and most definitely, like, there are definitely shitty adults. But I also kind of like what Catherine did, in which it's like, yeah, I'm an adult now, because you're still young at 20, right? You still know what it's like to be young, and you're not disconnected at all. But now, after college, you're an adult. Get a fucking job. Figure out what you want to do with your life. You're out of college, and it's like, well, I don't feel grown up. I don't know a lot of things. And then they just kind of go, oh, well, you should. Bye. And it kind of fucks you over. And I'd like to see that perspective, because there's fucking corrupt adults, and now you're technically an adult, and you're like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, okay, so percentage-wise, right? Like, there's in Japan, and this is a problem I've been bitching about when I was a teenager. In Japan, there is this leaning and this heavy hardcore lean in anime stories to have the characters be between the ages of like 13 and 17. You never go into that 18-year-old zone, or else you're either bound to die, be a mentor character, or worse, become an adult. And I think that kind of creates this stigma about, you know, like about characters going beyond that. And, you know, they really emphasize and fetishize like youth, not in like kind of both, you know, kind of in that sexual way and in that, you know, like that glorified way, you know, but they really have this emphasis on youth and those youthful characters and stuff like that. And every series is like this. It's not just Persona, you know, to fucking, like, if you look at anime today, like, I make fun of Demon Slayer all the time for, like, how their characters look, sure, but, like, even then, those characters are between the ages of, like, you know, like, 10 and 17. Naruto and all these shonen characters, 10 and 17. Fucking Attack on Titan, 13 and 17, you know? Like, you have those character age groups, you have these stories because a lot of people want to see these young characters kind of go through these trials and tribulations. And then for some reason, when you get past the age of 20, nothing happens to you. Like, you are done being a character. You don't matter anymore. You know, fucking JoJo did it. Nah, I'd say that, but you know, Joseph exists, so maybe scratch that one, because I do love. That's one of my favorite things, is that they took Joseph and they brought him back, you know, for like one more adventure, and I love that. I love that aspect of JoJo. But you know, like Gundam did it. You know, Gundam didn't do it, but I'm trying to get to a point. Gundam had characters like Char and Amuro, in which you watch them grow up. You know, they were kids, they were teens when they were doing their 1 Year War stuff. In Zeta, they continue the conflict in different ways. And then in their 30s, early 30s, Char's counterattack happens, you know, and characters that grow up and they adapt and they have their own lives. Bright Noah becomes a captain, you know, like a captain of fucking Londo Bellic. He becomes like a pretty high up there, you know, military personnel. You know, and that's the kind of character develop I like to see, obviously. But like, there's also nothing wrong with characters like that start in their like 20s, mid-20s. Obviously, I'm super biased right now. I'm in my fucking late 20s right now, as of this recording. But like, I don't know what it is about this, like, and it's not just obviously Japan, but it feels so focused because we consume this type of media, you know? Like, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Pretty solid game, but it also kind of suffers from this, you know? Every game, every Japanese RPG that I'm playing right now kind of suffers from this problem. Where I had that problem in my early 20s where I'm like, it's kind of getting a little dicey. It's getting a little dicey playing these characters. You know, I'm having this, you know, disconnect. And now, 10 years out of high school, like, I'm over it, you know? So, and I wouldn't be asking this if it wasn't for Catherine or Persona 2. Like, I wouldn't be if Atlas had a track record of only making characters of a certain age between the ages of 13 and 17, and that was
you wouldn't have a problem because you're just like, oh, that's just their thing, I guess.
Yeah, sure, but you've done it, Atlas. You've made characters that are
but Persona 2 was also a banned game.
Yeah, but that's Hitler.
Yeah, and Catherine didn't do nearly as well as Persona.
But the reason Persona 5 did well wasn't because of the kids. It was because there was already a cult following towards Persona. Before Persona 5 came out, everyone already heard about how wonderful Persona 5 was, or how wonderful the Persona series is. And Persona 5, there hadn't been one for the PlayStation 3. And if you heard about Persona in 2009, God bless you, I had to hear it from the fucking grapevine, like, what Persona was. And, you know, like, I lucked out. I had a friend who lent me the games to play. You know? And now I live in a home in which both the 3 and 4 and 5 are all on shelves. You know, like, so the reason 5 did so well isn't because of, I would argue, it isn't just because of the standard fanfare. There's also a generational gap. People constantly hearing about these games. People, you know, like, everyone always touts Persona 4 as one of the greatest RPGs of all time, and I also agree with them. It's one of the greatest games of all time. So I
said, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but Grosen said, yeah, but that's Hitler. Mitch 20K.
Like, look, Persona 2 didn't do well, obviously because it was banned here, but also I played 2. Some of that subject material I don't think would have slid. It wouldn't have slid like in the 90s, and it was re-released for the PSP. But once again, this is in a time frame in which when it was re-released for the PS3. Or not the PS3, the PSP, the PS3 was already its main thing. And yes, you could buy the games from the store. You could buy Persona 4 and Persona 3 from the PlayStation store and emulate them on the PS3's engine. But, like, Persona 5 owes its success not only to the wonderful aesthetic, the wonderful music, the wonderful characters, and the wonderful just overall execution of it all, but it also owes its success to the legacy of literally blue balling a generation of fans for like 10, like not 10 years, but like close to it, you know?
Yeah. No, I definitely get it.
Well,
I totally agree.
I've heard that Legend of Zelda is really good, but I couldn't get into Twilight Princess. What's this? Fucking Breath of the Wild? Why not? And then it's like Breath of the Wild is so far out there from its, predecessors that like it's, it stands alone, it stands a champion amongst its generation and peers. So, God damn it, I lost my fucking train of thought.
Yeah, I was about to say, we went off on a tangent and we're getting off topic. We've answered one question that we had. And that question was, what age should we make the main character?
Okay, so look, that's the thing. The main character, I think, you're right. I absolutely 100% agree with you. I think that, one, the character should be a character fresh out of college, because I think that makes an interesting kind of stress for the players. The deadlines don't even have to be like, because, Persona 3 had the full moons, 4 had, the rain, like the fog and the rain and stuff. And 5 obviously has its like the Phantom Thieves like deadlines and stuff like that. So the deadlines don't even have to follow like a traditional format. It could just be like, find a job, like get a job, or like pay your bill.
Rent is due.
Yeah, rent is like you could do something interesting with that. Like I think the problem with there's a lot of problems with Japan. But one of the biggest problems that I've heard about is just that there is this sense of depression about as you had told me earlier, which was they feel like there's a lot of individualism, like there's not a lot of individuality between like yourself and someone else because you're just workers working for larger companies. There is no aspirations or dreams in comparison to like a place like here in the States, or literally anywhere. Yeah.
Which, because we kind of spitballed it a little bit, but Nate, I was wondering how you would feel, because this is a collaboration at this point, how you would feel about the main character being a NEET.
I wouldn't feel called out at all.
I'm not calling you out. You obviously like
you shot yourself there, buddy. Fucking
yeah, I'm aware.
A NEET is someone who's not in education or seeking like employment. So I was just curious how you would feel about that.
Like, cause like the fresh out of college thing, it's like because no matter how much schooling you go through, it never prepares you for life ever. So, it's. I feel like the main protagonist like would already have like a job, and then that realization of like, oh, I'm gonna be doing this for the rest of my life if I don't do something about it. kind of situation. Like, yeah, you can do the fresh out of college thing, but like them just having like a crummy kind of just part-time job or something. Like they've only just recently like moved out and started living on their own because they used to live in like a dorm or something. Like all of this like new adult stuff like stacked on top of like freshly leaving college would just be like, fuck, this is my life now. And I don't know, because it's like I haven't played the other like Persona games as much as 5, obviously. But it's like I've heard about them, but all the characters, including the protagonist a bit, has that like realization moment. And I don't know, I feel like that would be like the best way to be like, hey, do you want to change your fate? I want to help other people out in your situation? Here you go.
While I would agree with you that does sound like a wonderful way to do like a character, I don't think that would fit necessarily the main character role.
Yeah, because that's the issue. Because
I think that would be like a really good like Ryuji or like fucking like Yosuke like character
Mhm.
because I'm like yeah.
Yusuke.
Yosuke.
No, because it's Brosuke. Yosuke Brosuke.
Come on.
You said Yusuke.
Yeah, it's Yusuke.
I'm talking about Yosuke. I said Ryuji Sakamoto.
Or dude, bro.
I'm talking about the dude, bro.
And Yosuke.
Yes, I said that. You said Yusuke, you dumb slut.
I'm talking about the fucking artist. You bitch.
I was talking. I said Ryuji or fucking Yosuke.
Which is why I thought.
Okay, we're in circles. Okay, the point is that God damn it.
Fucking.
That character idea is wonderful. It's a great idea for a character idea.
The best friend character.
Yes, for the best friend character. The problem
There you
with
go.
making a main character in a Persona game is that they have to be a somewhat blank slate so that the character can have a different name, different personality traits, and have all that set up. The idea of having a character who already has a job, one of the problems is that you're already establishing that they're discontent with their job. But if you're already establishing the discontent with their job, like I don't feel like that gives as much freedom as someone who possibly doesn't simply have a job, or someone who is indifferent. Having that customization of the experience is the most important aspect of all Persona games.
That's fair. The only thing is, like, I have that in mind, but then I just imagine, like, being friends with people that it's just like, wait, you don't have a job? Wait, you're freshly out of high school, freaking college? What the fuck are you doing? And then it's like, fucking, could you not?
No.
It's like, I want to live my life for like a few minutes before I, do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but that's kind of why I was thinking a NEET for the main character. Because not only are every single main characters away from their family, away from any like friends that they would have for one reason or another, because it doesn't matter. In 5, none of your friends or family try to contact you, like from the old town you're from. In 4, same shit. 3, guess what? It doesn't matter. Your friends, your family, they're not interested. It makes more sense to just be a NEET who's pushed everybody away already. And it makes more sense as a NEET to need to go out and level up things like toughness and charm and like intelligence and all of that, because now you actively have to work on it to improve yourself to go help people. I have to learn how to talk to people again. I have to learn how to take care of myself again. And I think that's more interesting for a reason to actually implement that, other than, I want to be the most popular boy at school.
Time to dick down all these girls.
Time to dick down everybody. Everybody. If they breathe,
Yeah.
I'm fucking them. Like,
Then I'm gonna write reviews about it online. No. Yeah, I think that works for the main character. I think Amanda nailed this one on like the head. Making a NEET character, especially a character who's like, fresh out, and then that's where you could have that best friend character where you cut to him and like maybe he's like, this character was like, maybe you could play it up as stereotypic as you want. You could be like, yeah, I used to be part of the the track team in high school. Maybe he got a scholarship doing that kind of shit. You met him and like, I don't know. Maybe he's just a childhood friend, but he's checking up on you because he's worried because you never leave your fucking house.
yeah. Or I was thinking like maybe that best friend character gets a hold of you because like a fucking, I don't know, your girlfriend from high school or your girlfriend from college is missing. Or something bad happened to her. And obviously that would lead you straight back into the investigation part of Persona, in which you're like, well, what happened? Because you would have an instinctual like, okay, well, wait, I know we didn't end on good terms, or maybe we did. Maybe I pushed her away too. But what happened to her? You know? And it's that instinctual like, okay, well, I don't want to leave my house, but maybe I should look into this.
Maybe I should. And okay, so here's another thing. This other character, the reason you leave. Personally, I don't want her to be a main character. I want her to be someone who like is killed because of. And let's take a step back from character and kind of go into what we're gonna call the supernatural aspect.
Yeah.
So far we've established that there is a main character who is in need. Your best friend kind of comes and checks up on you, but nothing ever really like pops from it. The main theme that I think would really work for this is escapism, especially if we're doing this in Japan, which I super think we should. Especially if we're doing this in the Tokyo area, which I super think we should. I think escapism should be the main idea for this one. In Japan, especially with its content, I'm looking at you, anime and games. Fuck. There's been a real emphasis on isekai series. This idea that like you go to sleep or you get run over by a truck, and you get killed somehow or taken out of your current world and are placed into a completely different world, a fantasy world. Sometimes you get reincarnated as a slime, or sometimes you're playing an MMO and get trapped in it, or sometimes the characters that you party with in your isekai fantasy are really bad, like just bad, just horrible people. Sometimes you're taken out of your isekai, or not taken out, but sometimes you're put into your isekai and like not everything's the way that you're expecting. You don't get the weapon you fantasized about. There is this idea in Japan right now, and this real heavy lean on escapism. But to me, this lean on isekai territory is really like fucking depressing. It's really fucking sad, dude. When I think about like the reason to lean, like every single one of those stories is, well, I'm gonna die and get reincarnated into something else. That's a fucking terrible way, one, to start your story, but a really terrible way to to kind of have this fantasy. You can't just be swept away and like, oh, I'm Titus, or oh, I'm like Noctis, or I used Final Fantasy, but like I can't just be Yu Narukami. I have to literally get fucking murdered, or once again trapped in an online game for my blank slate character to then for me to kind of live vicariously through this slot, and that's really fucking depressing. And it's not just anime, obviously. Like, it's not just that aspect. Escapism, obviously, is something that everyone uses as a coping mechanism at some point or another. Escapism, is just, delving into something. I mean, I'm guilty of it myself. Like, I play video games to kind of escape from some, to de-stress, to, do my own thing. My mom read a lot of books. She still reads tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of books. I can't tell you how many she's read. That's just been a thing ever since I was a kid. And, everyone has their vice. Everyone has their thing that they do. Some people watch shows. Some people, listen to YouTube channels with people who are who are very unequipped to talk about this.
Yeah.
But I think that should be the main theme. I think that should be the theme, and then that goes into the supernatural aspect.
Oh, yeah. I definitely agree. It should have that escapism theme. And like you said, escapism comes in like all different forms, whether it be movies, TV shows, anime, video games, books, whatever. I was thinking, and I don't know if, because some people use it as escapism, but it's ARG's, the alternate reality game. And that might be a bit much. Don't get me wrong. But
well just let's hear it out and we'll kind of go.
okay.
Yeah.
So alternate reality games are games in which people will Insane Oddball says, quit calling me out, Mitch. It, alternate reality games are literally is a form of escapism. Someone presents you something online and they go, look at this thing, it's totally real, even though it's obviously not. And you yourself have to give up what you see as reality and go, yeah, that thing's totally possible. That's definitely happening, whether it be ghosts or demons or fucking the Slender Man. It doesn't really matter. But it's an alternate reality game in which you have to look at something and be like, yeah, no, that's totally fucking real. I believe you. I believe that because you're willingly giving up your own sense of like reality to participate in this game. And Japan has had bad forms of this. like the blue whale one. And if you know, you know, but the blue whale one is a very bad. I don't know if it's like a rumor or what, but some people say that like people have died playing that one. And because you're willingly putting yourself into danger or what, I think it might be an interesting place to pull an investigation from. Because say that this girlfriend character died playing it, then an ARG doesn't need to have you leave the house. You don't usually need to leave. It's the sharing of information via the internet. So it might be more comfortable for that person to initially stay inside before it gets more serious. But that's just me.
maybe like you know how the Persona 5 does like the cell phone stuff, or even Persona 4 where it's like you're getting a call on your phone, you can talk to different people. Well, in this case maybe the character starts off in texting and then eventually goes into phone calls, you know.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of it is internet based, and I mean fuck it, why not? We got pulled into the TV in 4. We fucking go through it through our fucking cell phones in 5. Fuck it, let's just go full fucking Digimon and just go straight into the fucking internet.
Yeah, you want to
Why
do
not?
you want to do cyber sleuth? You want to cyber sleuth this up?
Sure. Why the fuck not at this point? I mean, the internet is like this huge, massive wave of information in which half of it is true and then the other half is just people fucking with you. Why not?
That could be really interesting in terms of like, because I mean, a lot of people, okay, like a lot of people use the internet for escapism too. I mean, for fuck's sake, we could make it so that like we were talking about this a little earlier. We've got to stop brainstorming before the show. We got to just do it all naturally, because we can't be like, oh yeah, we fucking took this from earlier. You know, like the character, we were talking like maybe one of the ways that the character escapes is an MMO, kind of a tongue in cheek on something like Sword Art or something like that. But you know, like there's tons of people who play MMOs and like in healthy doses. I wouldn't be one of them, but there are people. I've heard legends and stories of people who play.
As Mitch and I look at our amount of time in FF, it's like, nah.
It would be me. I play MMOs in healthy amounts of fucking time.
There's people who play a healthy amount of time. And there's also people who play like, you know, and that obsessive amount of time. You know, where it's like you throw yourself into that role, you know, as that character, and you know, whether it's you're writing your own character to kind of be in that world, or you're taking the place of it. I mean, that subject's been wonderfully driven home by series like Dot Hack, and that's all I'm saying. But
my only concern with either one of our suggestions is that we never delve too far deep into Catherine. You know what I mean? How he would wake up and be like, "Was that real? I guess that was real."
I think we could. I think we could like okay, so here's what I think. Let's kind of spitball this. So the character is playing an online game. He's playing like maybe like Sword Art or something like that, or some equivalent, standard isekai kind of deal.
Final Fantasy 14.
Final Fantasy 14. He's playing Final Fantasy 14. But as he continues to play the game, even he is noticing, like, he's heard of the game. He's heard of this ARG. And there's rumors, I heard that so-and-so played this game. Fucking Makoto-san? Yeah, I heard that she fucking, got like 3 promotions in a month. Just by playing this game, or just by believing this, or like, have you heard this rumor? I heard that there's like some, that and that could be something interesting where it's like this it's a forum, or it's like a website that people go to, and like it's something in which like really like roll the dice, roll your fortune kind of vibe, and like some people get like really good at it, like some people get really good shit, and then some people get really bad shit, and that is where you could probably play along this idea of like the demons kind of aspect. Let's roll it back all the way to I guess P5. Let's roll it back to P5 or to Persona 2 and 1, in which before these were just shadows, these were straight up demons.
Yeah.
Let's kind of play it back a little. Let's kind of like roll it into this idea that like, if you like roll your dice, see how it goes, and like then there's some it's like you roll the dice, and what it is it summons it doesn't, maybe not summon, but it manifests this well, that's the same word, but manifests like this like corrupted demon kind of that takes place in your heart. It doesn't like kill you immediately, but it's something that's there, and kind of rolling into that Persona 4 vibe where it's like, oh well, I have to defeat the shadow version of myself. Maybe the main character maybe upon hearing the news that his college sweetheart, was found dead because of something like this, he just arbitrarily, he's like that's not true, that's not a thing, and he shuts himself down even worse. And then he goes to this website, he looks it up himself, and he's like, it's just a fucking website. There's no way. He rolls the dice. It gives him a really bad fucking, maybe it's tarot cards. And maybe like, like it kind of like hidden, like not like, subtly done. Not like, like flip a card, bitch. And you could have something where like the friend comes and visits, and like he kind of like knocks on the door. He's getting really worried because no one's heard from him, and I like this idea of your college or high school friend constantly coming to check upon you. That way, you can establish a solid bro/gay relationship, much
like immediately.
So what you're saying is kind of like the Japanese red rooms.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fucking into it.
So essentially, what it is that you. Like your character has rolled the dice on this, right? And let's say your buddy, your Sakamoto-san character also has done this. Like just as a goof. He didn't, he wasn't super into it, like, but like he was like, he just arbitrarily clicked on it because you go to that website, it's like, want your fortune read, motherfucker? And then like, just, yes, sure. And you just kind of check it, what's the harm it's going to do? But like, by doing that, you implant this, you essentially kind of like in an arbitrary way, make like a temp binding to yourself, to allow not just maybe some random demon, but the manifestation of your insecurities and doubts, much like the shadow self, as we're looking at Persona 4, to kind of manifest and kind of take its seed and take its root and form.
Oh, what if instead of like the best friend fucking doing it and then reaching out to you, what if you did it and you're like, oh fuck, I
don't know how to deal with this by myself.
I don't know how to deal with this. And I pushed everybody away.
I'd say
looks like
either
it's time to talk to people.
Yeah, and then maybe that's the easiest one you could do is like your Sakamoto-san friend is like the easiest one. He's like, what? So you just went to this fucking website, and if you want to play him up as an idiot, you can do that too. Where it's like, what? You just
and
you
then
just
he
click this
checks it
button,
out
yeah,
with you. Yeah, and then he comes in and he's like, okay, so what fucking website? And while you're fucking sitting there telling him about it, he like pulls out his phone. And he's like, so this shit, and he shows it to you, and you're like, you son of a bitch! You dumbass! What did you do? And now you both have a reason to, like, go in together. Other than, like, oops, I slipped and fell into the TV. Oopsie poopsie. Oh, fucking, it gives you, like, an actual reason to be like, oh, shit. Shit's going down.
Shit's going real down.
Yeah. Fucking, and the investigation could be pushed further and further by other people. Like, you could be like, oh, you get, like, a great amount of fortune, and then you die. But the rumor is entirely based on, like, because the implication is that there's someone evil behind this, like every other fucking Persona. So, someone is only spreading the positive about it and destroying, like, proof of the negative.
Yeah, and that could lead into some really fun stuff, and that kind of once again goes into the supernatural aspect, in which you could look into lore, and let's mix and match this time. I know that 5 mixed and matched quite a bit. 4 had its emphasis on Japanese mythology. 3 had its emphasis on Greek and Roman. And so let's just mix and match this a little bit, and I was thinking the theme of this one could be something as fun as, like, maybe, like, like, essentially you are, like, this is kind of like a hard one to not immediately talk about Persona 5, right? The main reason we're talking about this is because Persona 5 did it in such a way that, it's like, oh, Phantom Thieves. But I was like, nah, we could do this. We could turn this a little bit more. Like that emancipation, like, do you seek emancipation? Do you want that freedom? Do you want, to truly rebel? And I think
so. Maybe, like, rebellious historical figures,
historical figures, like, like actively taking that fight. Phantom Thieves do some stuff in very and very, like, oh yes, we changed your heart, ha ha ha, like, like, I much preferred something like 3, in which, like, you could feel, like, a lot of that stuff happening. Like, the Midnight Hour gave a time in which personas could be summoned outside in the, like, well, it was the real world. There was no Shadow World. There was no Mementos.
TV land.
Yeah, where I much prefer a system like 3, in which, you have that distortion of reality, than, like, going into, like, Mementos and the Shadow World makes sense because you're investigating a single individual. But what if it's this idea that it's like, like, I like this kind of Durarara style way of doing it, where, like how many people are in this gang? Well, it's just an online gang, but it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of fucking nerds.
And I think that could be the most interesting part. It's like, hey, are you tired of society? Do you want to, let off some steam? Do you want to rebel? Sign up with us. And that kind of leads into, like, this idea of, like, your persona could be, your persona doesn't necessarily have to be like someone like Arsène Lupin, or, Jean Valjean, but it could be someone like, I was thinking something along the lines of, like, your buddy's persona could be someone like Leonidas. Leonidas, a guy who's, like, famous for, for his 300 defense of a single area, and, like, wiping a bunch of people out, and fighting true to fighting true to his fucking ideals.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, oh, well, what if, like, the personas were figures that exemplified, like, individuality? And then my mind immediately went to, like, musicians, and I was like, oh, that's JoJo. I stepped right into JoJo.
You did the JoJo.
I stepped into a big old pile of JoJo. Shit. Fuck. I don't know, but like people who exemplify individuality, not necessarily musicians, but I mean, fuck it, why not musicians? But like maybe artists, writers, people who did not give a fuck.
Sakamoto-san, I need you to cast Leo. Share!
Share! Lady Gaga!
Yeah, that's immediately what I'm thinking of, you know, it's not... I think...
Yeah.
There are characters that, like, that exemplify that individuality, but I also... I feel like we'd be leaning a little too close into Phantom Thieves territory on that one.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, you know?
Yeah, but I'd argue that Phantom Thieves are not about individuality so much as they are a group of literal thieves.
So, okay, individuality. Like, I'm having a hard time, like, thinking of anyone at the top of my head of characters who exemplify individuality. Because while thematically that would be perfect for Japan in its current crisis, I'm having a personal issue. Or, like you could use that as, like, a couple characters' ideas, or you know, like, but I don't know, like, give me some examples.
It's so fucking hard to say without just immediately being like a musician. I don't know. It just fuck it, Salvador Dali. Someone like him, not necessarily like exactly like him or anything like that, but as an example of someone who made their entire personality and what they were known for based off of I am me. I don't care what anybody else fucking thinks. I don't know, maybe a fucking philosophers. I don't fucking know. It's either that or the only other thing in my head. This is my persona. Solid Snake.
This is my persona, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Insane Oddball says, I summon Elvis Presley.
Okay, so here we get into a kind of a slight issue when we're starting to go more modern and specifically more into real life people. While Hirohiko Araki was able to get away with it in JoJo, I don't think a company like Atlas could get away with using real life people's names and likelihoods without.
Joe says you jest, but Sega would put Sonic as a persona if they could.
They super would. If it to just they would. They super would.
Yeah, no, that would be the mascot character.
Oh yeah.
This is like,
but it's
cool.
Yeah, but I mean, persona based wise, they're all based off of like figures, right? Whether it be through like stories or history. Who the fuck would they base these ones off of?
I mean, I don't even think there needs to be a central theme with the persona. I think there needs to be, like, while there are central themes, obviously, like, to everything, the idea of, like, Persona 2, right? Like, let's go back to that. Like Persona 2 and 3 even, like, it was kind of incidental that they used, like not incidental, but when they used Greek and Roman mythology to kind of emphasize, like, their ideas, like, yes, that super works, but, like, if fucking Jean Valjean can be a fucking persona for, like, a character, then I'm having, like, you know, like, I just feel like you can kind of separate it. Like, I think the persona in terms of theme doesn't need to be like, oh, I'm, you know, like, everything has to be Japanese or everything has to be Greco-Roman or everything has to be, you know, to a specific theme. I think, if anything, if you really want to emphasize individuality, each persona should be for that person.
Yeah. Mass Gamer Joker made a excellent point. Characters from medieval times, but that made me think of like traditional fantasy. So they don't necessarily have to be like Lancelot or anyone. You can definitely have those characters. But what about like Merlin?
You could okay,
Morgana
so let's talk about Merlin, because I actually had an idea here.
Oh.
The
shit.
okay, so the mascot character, because that was a trend started in 4.
Who would our mascot be? If
Who?
it's so internet based, can it be Clippy, the paper cut? Can it looks like you're looking for a murderer.
Well,
Can I help you with that? Or the
It's like,
fucking
what the
gorilla.
fuck?
I was
The gorilla. What's the fucking gorilla's name?
Oh my god. Okay, so I was thinking that we actually make it flat out Merlin. Like it's a chibi, cute form of him, like a little mascot version. But I think we could, because okay, so what's the story for Merlin, right? Morgana Le Fay traps him in a fucking tree forever. That's the end of Merlin's character. He gets trapped in a tree forever.
Yeah.
And I liked this idea that he kind of like a Digimon in a weird way, where it's like the internet kind of gives access to like it's a form of like some sort of it's like a social realm. It's a realm of information and all sorts of stuff that we've kind of created like a secondary layer, and he can exist on this layer, but only in his chibi form.
No, because then I just like imagine the freaking like not necessarily Teddy, but like what they're gonna be doing with like Morgana in fucking like Persona 5. It's like, nah, there's gonna be a moment that he's gonna come out of the computer. He's gonna be a real ass person. It's gonna be like, no.
Well, I like the idea that he does become like a real ass person. He become he creates an avatar. More people are like to the cause or something like that, and it allows him to manifest a avatar into the real world to hang out with you, and then he becomes your roommate and stuff.
Dude, what a great fucking social link that would be. Especially for like a neat character who's like, I just want to escape reality. And then you have fucking persona from the internet that's like, I want to experience reality.
I've been trapped in this fucking tree for 400 years, and it's like, so where is the tree? And maybe that could be near the end of the game where it's like, oh, so like part of it's like, oh, so what exactly? So it's like, so Morgana Le Fay was da 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 da, and it's like, yeah, exactly. Like it was she was a big bad in my time or something like that. And the characters are kind of for like part of the last half of the game, or not last half, but like the last like quarter of the game is like taking that trip, the ultimate step of fucking of anti-neat, right? It's to take a trip somewhere.
And to the beach.
You got to the beach.
To the beach. We'll share watermelon on the beach.
You go to France, or you go to England, and Merlin kind of leads you to the tree.
Mm.
And it's like, well, here's the deal, you can make it real sad too, where it's like, once the seal is done, actually I can't survive. Time will catch up with my body, and I will die. But like if it's going to stop this website, or if it's going to stop this evil, then it's super worth it. Like, you can establish this relationship with this character and do social links and stuff with him, and like maybe you could like show him television. He gets really obsessed. Like, there's a box that you could just get information from. What? And then he gets obsessed. And then he gets obsessed with like soap operas. And he's like, "What kind of stories are these?"
Why are all these women getting pregnant? Why do all the men have twins? And then they go into comas. I don't understand. And you can even make it like a thing about how he doesn't get to experience life anymore. But you have a life, and yes, you have to work, and yes, you have to pay bills, and you don't get to do what you want to do all the time, but at least you get to live. And you could always just have that be the social link.
Oh yeah.
Just compare and contrast. And I mean, it's not a I suffer more than thou sort of situation.
It could just
be.
It is. You could have like a little Ferris wheel moment. You take him to the amusement park for like his like level 8, right? And like, and you take him to the top, and that's where he has this conversation with you about like life and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
And of course, he will have to be a very attractive anime boy.
yeah, he has to be. He has to be prettier than like any of the other characters, and to the point where like even the guy character. So like, I wouldn't do a guy, but maybe.
Damn.
But
Oh,
there's always an exception to the rule.
It's unspoken that we would want all versions of like relationships, right? Like it's pretty much unspoken that if this is our game, that's what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Fuck. Insane Oddball says, and then you kiss on top of the Ferris wheel.
But like that's something you could like do, like like we can like, God, I feel like this is gonna end up being becoming a two-parter, just because there's so much to talk about, like we can like we could do personas on an individual basis, and that I think that could work just fine, especially if the focus is individuality. Maybe like the theme doesn't have to necessarily like maybe each persona kind of emphasizes a dream or a goal or an aspiration that character has. It's like, oh, there's a,
or even had
yeah
to make it sadder.
It's like oh, I wanted to be an idol and I was mildly successful, but I never got there.
Yeah.
And maybe the little area you have to go to when you like kind of go into her domain, because there would be a thing, obviously. Let's go back to P4 and do Shadow World stuff, or yeah. And like maybe it's like an Alice in Wonderland inspired thing,
Yeah, I thought of, because I was sat here going like, oh, like I wonder what the group would be like, and I was like, okay, so it would be people who are pulled in to the internet and seek like essentially escapism no matter what. So obviously you could have like all different ages and different walks of life.
Oh yeah.
But I immediately was like, oh, well, my brain literally just fucking like went way too fast for me to catch up, and I went, okay, so it's all kinds. So you have like people who just come on to like check their emails or watch YouTube or do whatever. And then I immediately somehow got into the idea of like a mom whose kid got into the game and is trying to find someone who can help her because she's freaked out about it. And then I was like, but MILFs though. What if we got MILFs in this game?
Okay, so that's another thing, because we like that's something else we can talk about, right? Let's talk about some of the other character possibilities. I liked the failed idol. That was one of the ones I really liked. I like the MILF idea. I like this idea that there is, and maybe part of like what kind of world do you think you'd be like caught in though? Like what do you think like he would dive really deep into? Because I think that would determine the domain, like the overblown fantasy, because
I'm watching the chat, and Insane Ball says, Amanda, you're a genius. Fucking. So, whatever the setting is, we were thinking like an MMO, right?
Yeah. So, well, for the first character, their escapism was the MMO.
Yeah. So maybe it's an MMO because, MMOs can pull in all different kinds. Like you were saying, hardcore people who are into it, casual players, people who are trying it out for their friends.
Fortnite. Kids just stuck in Fortnite.
Oh no. Oh god, Insane Outball says, and then we could become her child's new stepfather.
Oh jeez. That so
also a goth girl.
Okay, so that's kind of okay. I might be like overstepping my boundaries on this one, but I also liked the idea of like a character who is complete like uses the escapism to be someone that they can't physically be in real life. You know, maybe we have like a character who isn't the most like traditionally beautiful character like Kanji. You know, I love Kanji. Kanji's my favorite character in Persona 4. Fucking love that guy. But he's not the most, you know, he's not like the traditionally beautiful character, you know? In the same way that like maybe Raph or like Ditto is like in Fire Emblem. You know, they're not like, they're very handsome boys, but they're not, you know, they're not traditionally anime cute, you know? And especially if we're
Oh, I'm sorry, go on.
Especially we're contrasting them to like our Merlin character.
Yeah. So maybe like a life simulator?
Like a life simulator, like Animal Crossing? No,
Well, I was thinking like either Animal Crossing or how some people, because God, it steps way too close to dot hack, but like how people have those like VR chat sort of deals where they can go in as their fucking chosen character. What instead of as themselves.
What would we want? Like, we could make this character like a Bara, just huge and muscular and stuff like that. Maybe it's like a construction worker.
Yeah, but like I think maybe that's how they meet is through the VR chat. Maybe I don't know.
Well, I did like the idea of like. Because it's like your character does start off as like a NEET that he has a friend that he's never met in person, but like an online friend.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Like H.
Yeah, it's just like that's literally like what came to mind. I'm just like never met in person. Like both of them are either like he doesn't know like what his real life is or like what their real life is, and it's just like it's just my online friend. I haven't met them in person. I don't know what they look like, but they're my friend and they're there for me.
I haven't met them in person, but we go on raid battles all the time, and he has fucking back.
He's the best red mage I've ever partied with, and he's like this. He's like a
He's my healer.
He's
and then he turns out to be the support.
It's like
and then you find out what he actually looks like, and it's just like, you were not what I was expecting at all. Like he plays like a cute cat girl or something. It's like, I wasn't anticipating you to look like that.
Yeah.
It's like, hey.
as long as you don't say Lalafell, man. I'm like, yeah, look, it's good.
No, I wasn't. No, that's an unspoken rule.
But like that could be really interesting. It's like he plays like, why do you play the white man? And like in real life, kind of like the Kanji character, where it's like, oh, you know, like he's kind of like rough. You know, he's a very large guy. Kind of like his apartment's very like minimalistic, but he has his like computer setup. And you know, and we can even make it so that he's in like his early 30s, where it's like, you know, he's just a construction worker. He's very content with life, but you know, he's at an age where it's like, you know, you're supposed to get married, and you're supposed to, you know, and he has those pressures. And he's like, so why did you play a support character? You know, like why are you like this? And it's like, well, honestly, I don't really have a lot of friends in real life, and I thought that would be a really good way to do it. You know,
yeah. Or just, you could even get all mushy and just be like, well, I'm scary. And I just wanted to help people. You could even just go like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like that Tetsumi. Yeah. Kanji, like, sort of situation where it's like, oh, well, I have to be hard on the outside to keep up this sort of image that I've made because I need it to help protect my mom. But I really am just a goo boy on the inside, and I like making toys for kids, and I like cooking and sewing. And I like that, so maybe that could be your healer. I also like the idea that they're all based off of like a class in like an MMO. So, like a monk character, a fucking fighter, a healer.
Could his corrupt form when he has to face his quote unquote shadow self, like it could be like his MMO character, and then like when he enters the party, it's like, all right, I'm ready to help you guys out. we're
Yeah.
because I think that it would be cool to do like a shadow self fight, but then also there's like the actual demon who is enabling the illusion of the domain.
Yeah, so they like corrupt their avatar selves to look just like them. So I mean it's still fighting yourself, but it's fighting your idealized self.
Yeah, and that could be like the mid boss, and the real boss at the end of the dungeon is the demon who has its like hands on it,
Yeah.
And so like that way they'll get a chance to party, and then like he could be like, all right, I'm gonna help you guys out, and he pulls like the magic staff out, and like the outfit comes on him, and then like he like moves a little bit and tears. And I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of like at some point, because you mentioned like, oh, he might be like in his 30s or like a bit older. I like the idea of like a social link with a character like that, of having that real ass moment of like, hey, like it's like, times have changed, like, because your character is still like not as young, but he's still younger, and it's just like it's like people are more accepting now. It's like, why don't you like be more like yourself, especially if you don't have to be like tough all the time, if you don't have to do it. And it's just like it's like you wouldn't get it, because it's like I'm older, you don't really fully understand where I'm coming from, and I just probably wouldn't be able to do that now. Like that's weird for me to do it now.
Oh, like that cool, like that generational gap, kind of like
Yeah, it's like
expressionism.
it's kind of like, it's like, no offense to you, it's like you can live your life, but this is just how I feel comfortable living mine. Even like, you know. So I just feel like that'd just be a fun conversation to have.
Oh yeah. So there are a couple of comments in the chat. Mass Gamer Joker says the protagonist can work as a newbie journalist. Insane Oddball says, I can't believe you'll have to kill his persona. As far as the protagonist can work as a newbie journalist, I'd argue that I'd like to see them as the antagonist.
Okay.
And that just, it goes into like corrupt media and stuff, and how they see video games and everything, because video games in most mass media are not necessarily a form of escapism so much as they are an addiction and something that is bad for you. And I mean, in large amounts, yes, they definitely are. You shouldn't be dedicating your entire lives to video games. It hurts you. It's not good for you. And I get that. But I think like an antagonist as a journalist, like a newbie journalist at that, not necessarily like big bad last guy, maybe like an Akechi.
Okay. That could definitely be interesting, especially if they're an active force against whatever you're trying to establish, because that's another thing. You know what I really miss, like as I'm playing Persona 5. As I'm playing Persona 5, I'm missing like the minor interactions where all the characters, because it was a smaller town, everyone kind of knew each other. And I kind of miss that a lot, because in my mind I'm like, we could take the MILF character, or the failed idol, or like you were talking, like maybe that goth character, and we could have it so that they all kind of know each other just through like word of mouth or something like that, where it's like you could have it so that like the healer character like it like looks at the failed idol and is like, hey, and like it's a very intimidating first interaction. It's like, I loved your work.
Yeah, you could have something like that,
like, I was
or
a really
like
big fan.
you could have something like Chie and Yukiko, where two of them are like, oh yeah, I know this bitch. We go fucking raiding every fucking weekend. Of course I fucking know her. Do I know her like face to face? No. But she's been my black mage for like years now. So we're pretty much sisters at this point. Like I would die for her. And she would, obviously kick their ass. But I think like that could definitely work. So they don't necessarily know each other face to face. Like they've never had the chance to. Because I mean, sometimes that happens. Like, oh, well, we live too far apart, and it's not necessarily unheard of for another character to move into town while the investigation is going on.
Yeah.
Naoto.
Exactly.
So I mean, you could always have, you could know one of them, and it can pull in that friend character who's like, you have been offline and doing some dumb shit. Where have you been? What is going on? You've been offline for weeks.
I love the idea that like the first two characters you get in your party are the healer friend and like the friend who doesn't even like the friend who's like, oh, you still play that stupid game, like the best friend character. I like that it's a sausage party first, and they even call it out. They're like, God damn, like it's Merlin, you. the best
your
friend,
guy best friend,
the track best friend,
the healer,
and then the healer, and it's like, is this becoming like a sausage party, like just a little bit,
just a little bit, and your character can just like look at the healer and be like, I wish you looked like your avatar.
Wow.
Do you wish I was like cute or something? Like what? I don't. And it's like there's just a lot of awkward conversations, and like I don't know. That's the thing. Each one of these personalities should feel like they should be supportive, and I think that by having them, I think we're absolutely on a good track here. Having them be very like varied in range and ages and stuff like that, having them each have like their own gimmick going on, and kind of focusing on a theme of you know, of having each other's back, of you know, like of a societal kind of like, you know, like group, like a friendship. I think that works really solid, because I like the idea that like if you keep that social link up with your athletics friend, like your track friend, you know, like you two can go to the bone zone, sure, but like, you know, there's also like, you know, there's an importance to like us keeping, you know, like it doesn't happen often. Friends obviously will come and go in your life, but you know, it could be that moment of like, you know, like, hey, I'm just really glad, you know, that you know, out of everyone that, you know, was around, that we were the ones that, you know, that stayed together. Because maybe like part of that social link could be like, hey, so and so wants to meet up again, are you okay with that? And so and so has become a toxic piece of shit or something like that, you know, like Josh has become a toxic piece of shit. No, I'm messing.
I think you could have really fun moments, especially if they're huge nerds, because in every game you have like your chill out moments where you just kind of, you dick around, you fucking, it'll be in between like missions, but it's a cooldown period, kind of like going to the bar or going to the beach or some shit. What if you guys went LARPing? What if you guys just went LARPing as their like avatars?
It's like, we could try this out, and then like they realize that it's like, I like this idea that like on paper it sounds like a really great idea, but then they get there and it's very awkward.
Well, yeah, because like I've talked to people who like LARP in real life, and they get fucking hurt, so they'll like get all dressed up and go there, and they're kicking the shit out of each other. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't have my persona. I'm out.
It's just like, hey, do you guys want to play? It's like, yeah, sure. And then like they start it up, and then like and at first it's going pretty good, but like the athletics friend doesn't understand the concept of turns, or like doesn't understand like it's like it's, you can't block that. It's like, yeah, I can. I just did it.
I caught your fucking fist, you slow motherfucker, and then he'll just like flips him.
It's just like, ah!
And it's like, you can't. It's play fighting, dude. You can't like flip him. And he's like, I am play fighting.
The construction worker friend, like the healer friend, has like cat ears on to be like their character.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I cast healing on you. I was like, oh Jesus Christ! It's so much cuter. Like, like.
Oh god, he like does like the little animation. So he'll like wave his hand, and then maybe he does like a nya sort of pose.
Do you guys like that? I've been practicing for weeks, you know? Like,
it's like you're uncomfortable, but you can't help but just be like, yeah, man, you do you.
You did
Oh, and then if like the girl characters play like as guys, they can be like, I'm here to fight.
it.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Are you Domison the Slayer? Are you dressed up as that's a cool cosplay? No, I am Domison. That's a cool cosplay.
All right.
It's like, okay,
Jesus
I see
Christ.
how it is.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
No, also that's like an element that I like didn't even think about. It's like, yeah, we're making older characters. Oh right, we can actually go to bars. Right.
Oh, that would, dude. Doing a social link that is established at like a bar would be really interesting. Where it's like you're all hanging out together, and then like maybe someone walks over, and is like, or you have the failed stand-up comedian, or like the fucking like,
oh no,
or just like the bar owner or something like that, and like
the piano player that wanted to go like professionally.
And he never did. And he's also a hot guy. We're making this very gay. I'm noticing. Like we're making more guy characters.
I wonder why, Mitch.
I'm trying to add girls.
Okay, let's add a girl. Okay, so like let's.
There's a few girls.
Yeah, we okay, but we haven't fleshed them out. Okay, so Amanda, let's try to let's
focus on
every time I'm like, oh yeah, and we can have like two characters, and they can be like, yeah, we go raiding, and you're like, yeah, but the big buff guy.
Okay, no, okay. So I clearly have my fucking clearly what it is subconscious needs for another dramatical murder are seeping into this.
Yeah, and my not so subconscious needs to be a dumb lesbian is like, hey.
Oh my god. Okay, so
and I just sit here uncomfortable because there's a lot of attractive characters you're adding to this.
It's okay. So but real quick, I just want to end off that LARPing bit with one bit. Like maybe the thing that like it's very awkward, but Merlin ruins it because he's like, all right, I'm gonna cast thunder, and then the clouds start to like go, oh fuck.
It's actual thunder.
And you all have to like. The characters like tackle him and like no. And all of the LARPers are like, oh man, it started to rain.
Looks like it's canceled.
Man, I glued this together with hot glue. I didn't have enough time. No, it's gonna fall apart.
Just fuck. This is made out of foam. It's gonna weigh a ton. I gotta go.
It just hard cuts to them at the bar dressed up as the characters, just like covered, like just wet, and there's like.
Oh. And then, like, okay, so Insane Oddball made a good point, because from the Just See Her toss a coin to your Witcher, what if, like, at the bar, that musician or whatever that you meet, he fucking ends up joining your group, and he's like, I'll be your bard. And you're like, oh. Oh, bard.
And it'd be funny if only one party member was down for it too.
It could be like one of the girls, and she's like, "I want to be the Witcher." Yeah.
Okay, so how about we establish one of the girl characters? So, I have Fallen Idol on my sheet of characters.
Are you actually like physically writing this down right now?
Yes, I have some of it down.
Okay.
so I liked the idea that the Fallen Idol character is the big tanky character. That could be a fun swap of like the healer being the Makote, and then like the big tank, like being like the Fallen Idol kind of vibe, And so, like, everyone has this preconceived notion, especially in the idol industry, right, of what this character is supposed to act like, what the character is supposed to be like. And at first, she took out her aggression in this game, but now that she's kind of fallen from grace, it's like, she doesn't really know what to do,
Yeah.
And so she kind of just works at her family store.
Yeah. I think, like, if we did want to establish a goth girl into the main group, that would be interesting too, because individuality is such a hard thing to establish in Japan. So, like the Harajuku scene, and so goths, fucking anything like that, is taken as extremely odd. So it would be interesting to see a character who's just like, oh, I don't care what other people say or fucking think about me. I do me. And then it's like you get to fight her shadow, and her shadow is
Just super.
obviously. Go on.
Oh, just super insecure and stuff.
Oh yeah, super insecure. Like, I put on like the front of being a goth because it makes me feel tougher, and I feel more like an individual. And because I've heard other goths like describe putting on like their usual attire. They tend to be more extremists in their style and fashion, and they're gorgeous, but they're like, oh well, it's my armor. I don't like how I look. I don't like how I feel when I'm out of it. So every day I put this on and it makes me feel better. And fucking, I would really like to see that. I think that would be really cool.
That would be really,
Is
really
that-
fun.
Yeah. Someone who, yeah, Insane Oddball says, I want a perky goth. Yeah, all rainbows and sunshine. Yeah, because goths are fucking like that. Give me a fucking bubblegum goth any fucking day. I'll take it. But, like, it definitely, I'd like to see someone who's like, at no fucking point, have them be like, oh, well, I got over it and I got my persona and now I'm not goth. Fuck off with that stupid fucking bullshit. Fuck off. I hate that. I hate that fucking trope.
It's coming from a very personal place.
It is. I hate it. It's like, oh, well, now I have confidence. Now I'm not goth anymore. Fuck right off. Fuck off. I don't get made fun of, had shit thrown at me, had people try to start fights with me, pictures taken of me, because I fucking, like, don't feel comfortable with myself. Fuck right off. If I gave a shit about what other people thought, I wouldn't dress like this.
That could be like a really fun interaction. Like after, like I was like, yeah, we defeated the palace and stuff. No, not defeated the palace. We unlocked your true persona, you know. And then like the next day they meet up in person, and like the track friend is like, oh, I just thought that, you know, like you would stop doing that. And
yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, I'm insecure and therefore I dress goth. It could be like, look, I can put on a tough face. It still fucking hurts. It still bothers me, which could be why they go into escapism.
Yeah.
It still fucking bothers me. No one likes to be made fun of. No one likes to be harassed for like what they like and how they dress. And I would really fucking appreciate. Give me a goth girl. Give me a goth girl, please.
We're doing it. We're doing it right now.
We're doing that right now.
No, I'm just talking to the universe.
Okay, so
that's all I want. I just want one who's not like, oh, I like got confident in myself, so now I don't have to fucking dress goth. I fucking every time I see that, my soul dies.
Can we make one of the girl characters really like hardcore into like a Code Geass-esque anime? Where it's like it's like there's pretty boys and mechs, and like you go into a room and like it's covered in like gunpla and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, like, gunpla and figures.
Also,
and there's a big poster of a ship. Oh, what's up?
I'm being called out in chat. I think Amanda wants to kiss a goth. It's just a feeling I get IDK and give Amanda a goth girl 2020. That's the new campaign for the world.
That's right.
And wait, I thought Amanda was goth. Yes, I am goth.
Yeah.
I've been goth for like the last 12 years, which is why I find it really frustrating when they're like, oh, now that I'm confident, I don't need to be goth. No, honey.
because then it just spreads the notion of like, oh, goth people are all insecure as fuck.
It's
That's
a
the reason they dress
phase.
goth.
Yeah.
It's a phase, and once you like grow up, you'll get out of it.
No.
Fuck off. Don't touch me. No.
The only
It's
reason
not
I'm not goth is that I can't afford it, so it's like
Yeah.
that's a lot of money that I just don't have.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be a thing about insecurity. You can be comfortable being a goth. I'm comfortable being a goth. I'd be more uncomfortable not dressing like this. If you fucking put me in goddamn blue jeans and a regular ass t-shirt, I don't know what I would do with myself.
That would look, yeah, and that would be like just super weird.
Honest to
It's like-
God, I don't know what I would do. I haven't
Yeah.
worn jeans in goddamn like 7 years.
You know,
It's
it's like we would see that, it would just be like, Amanda, are you okay? Like, what's wrong?
I'm like
Something's wrong,
sweating
you know, where is it?
nervously. I'm like having a breakdown. Like
It's like Barney Stinson outside of a suit. You're like, 7 seasons, man. 7 seasons of you in a suit.
Why are you changing it now?
I'm like I can't do it. But no, I mean, I want a goth character who's comfortable and happy being a goth. That's all I want. That's what I want. That's it.
Well,
That's all.
well, in our hypothetical, you know what I want? I hope that this idea we'll just, you know what we'll have to do? We'll just make our own fucking fandom for our not real game. That's what we'll have to do.
Yeah, no, like, well, granted, you have 3 creative people in a call, and 2 of them can draw.
That's
so,
right. That's right. We're coming.
Excuse me while I draw the goth girl of my dream.
That's right. We'll make our own fucking like hypothetical game, and that's how it be. That being said, real quick, Nate, you haven't really do you have any ideas for like a character?
Because every single character you guys have said have been ones that I had, so. You know,
Oh,
it's
no.
like I had ideas for characters and you kind of just said them all, so I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna.
Same bitch syndrome.
Yeah, it's sort of hanging out every day syndrome.
It's a
Okay.
problem, really.
I think that I think that character could super work. We need someone to take over Merlin's spot as the navigator character. Because Merlin would start off as a navigator, like the way that Mitsuru or Teddy or Morgana did, but we would need that navigator character. So what would we want to do for that?
Why not it be the healer?
Because then we would lose a healer.
I guess.
This is
I
like,
don't know. I just want a fucking big buff Catboy as my fucking support.
Well, okay, but I want him in battle and stuff, you know? Like, I think that would be the fun of it.
Joe says, why not the goth? Because I want to see her.
Yeah, I want to see her in combat.
Yeah.
I want to see
her in combat.
I want to see her with a big dumb like rose claymore.
Yes.
And then
yes.
and then her persona does like that's another thing. It's like we're just establishing the base characters. The persona themselves are going to be fun.
What if hers was like a vampire?
Oh, like just Carmilla.
yes, yes. She's so hype. Freaking.
Fuck. No, just have her like, because she could be one of like, it could be like the opposite of like the healer, in which her avatar is like a boy. Just make it Alucard. Just borderline Alucard.
Yeah. Dude.
And if you ever ask like, oh, why that avatar? She's like, I'm making my dream husband. Leave me alone.
don't judge me.
I am thou art I. Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, but that could also okay. I figured out our navigator problem. So Gunplug Girl is gonna be our navigator.
Yay.
Yeah.
And I think what could be like really fun with it is I once wrote a book, and what the fake anime I had to put into the book was something called Lancelot. And the idea is that it was just like mechanized Knights of the Round, like it's a Gundam-esque like show, and we could just do that, you know, like we could, and that way, like the navigation persona when that comes out, it's like so what do you think your persona is gonna be? And it's like, oh, I hope it's like Arthur or something like that, and like Merlin's like, oh god, no.
Merlin's like, please don't.
It's like, no, please.
But and it turns out to be someone like Gwaine or something like that, or like the funny is that the persona comes out, looks at Merlin waves, and then it's like, huh.
I would love nothing more, because I know there's like a moment when the other like persona gets summoned. What if we played it like a fucking one of those gacha games? Where they had like a second to wait for it to like pop in, and they're doing the animation, and they're like, please, Arthur, and Merlin's like, please, anyone but him.
Oh my god.
I would love that. I would love this idea that like maybe like Merlin. That's a thing that's obviously like a constant theme with Merlin in like modern mythology and like modern shows and stuff like that. But like the idea that like he regrets not being there for the final battle and seeing Arthur off, because his whole thing was like, I'm going to train you to be the next king. It's your destiny, and then he kind of failed him. That's a fun one. But
oh, what if it was like Guinevere or Lancelot? And he just has to like look at them. It's like,
yeah, just
like, and like Lancelot or Guinevere kind of like looks at him like down there, and she like turns away.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, it's like turns away. It's like, okay, see where we stand.
Oh jeez, that's just fun. That's just a fun thing right there. All right, so let's go over what we've got so far. How about that? It's been like an hour or so. Let's kind of go over what. Oh, it's been 2 hours.
It's been 2 hours.
Oh my god, we've been having too much fun. I didn't realize it's been 2 hours. So right now we've established that the game will include a main character who starts off as a NEET. You have their athletic friend who will have to come up with a name for I don't know, a later date, but they constantly check up on them. The character kind of goes, escapes into an MMO and onto online forums to kind of escape from the harshness of reality. One day, the athletic friend kind of comes over and says, "Hey, so-and-so is missing. I think that it would be better to do it like as missing at first, confirmed dead later."
Yeah.
That way there's an active chase, and you have this kind of like you have that first kind of setup. The first domain, I think, would be interesting if it was our main character's domain, and it is like a corrupt like reality version of the MMO. And that's when we have our athletic friend kind of do it. That's when Merlin pops. Or we have our group of 3 characters that go forward and shut down the domain. What's up?
Oh no, I was just like thinking about it. It's like, it's kind of got like the Summer Wars vibe, and I'm super there for it.
Dude, I'm down for it too.
Yeah.
We have so the next character they defeat the domain. The reality becomes distorted or goes back to normal, and it works out for them, and it kind of forces the character to go outside of their home. As the ARG kind of continues, other cases are kind of happening with this, where people who are downtrodden or sad use this to kind of plant seeds. And we can also just do that can be side quests, the way that Mementos works, where it's like, I really like how Digimon Cyber Sleuth does it, where it's like you sign up for the side quest, and it's a whole storyline, It's a whole fucking storyline, and you could make maybe they're not like, maybe they're just like NPC characters, but like it could be like, oh well, Tetsuo, I haven't seen Tetsuo in a little bit now, but I heard he's really hardcore into like he's really like hardcore into like this very specific scene, like maybe like the biker scene or something like that, and it kind of forces your character to go into different areas, places that he wouldn't, like not only the character but also the player, to go into areas that they wouldn't normally go into. And so then you go into like a biker bar, and that's where like not only like that's where there's clearly a social link there, but you also have to kind of distort the reality and face off against the demon that's been implanted into his heart, and kind of go from there. We have our healer character and his kind of fun little arc. So we have the sausage party for like the first like maybe like 15-20% of the game. The next character we're gonna do would be the goth girl.
Yeah,
that would be really fun as like just the contrast of all the characters together would be really solid. I also like the idea that at the very beginning of the game the character has like a weird like scruffiness, like that like 5 o'clock like shadow, like
yeah.
And then like as the game progresses, he kind of like cleans up more. The characters help him like clean up his apartment and stuff, and especially Merlin, because Merlin lives there.
Yeah, and Merlin's like, I can't live like this.
And so you kind of have that, and then we also have two characters who I'm going to put them into a category called like works in progress, in which those characters are kind of maybes. We'd have to kind of flesh them out a little bit more, and honestly, I think we're going to have to come back and do this again next week, because we're already 2 hours in. But I think if we take a week to kind of come back at this and tackle this a little bit more, I think this will work out really fine. I do like the idea that whatever's happening is stemming from Arthurian legend. There's something going on either with Morgana Le Fay, Mordred, something like that, and something is kind of causing this issue. And maybe it's something as dumb as like maybe it's the existence of the tree itself, maybe it's the existence of Merlin or something like that, but there is something going on there. But overall, I think we're on the right track. Our work in progress characters, I think I'm gonna put the failed idol in that shelf. Wait, could the failed idol be the MILF character?
Oh,
Can we combine that?
Oh.
Yeah. It's like no complaints.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down for
No
that.
objections. There you go.
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
And now she's like a mom.
Maybe the reason she had to get out of the idol industry is because she got pregnant, and then she her fans her fans threw under the bus because the idol industry is horrible.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to have you're not even allowed to have boyfriends. Oh.
And the guy in the picture left her, and so she's been a single mom this whole time.
Yeah, because he was only interested because she was an idol.
Oh my god, it's writing itself!
It's all there.
But anyways, so we have that. We also have Gunpla Girl, which I think would be really just fun. It'd also be interesting if Gunpla... I know we're trying to stay away from the college area for the main character, but college could be fun for Gunpla Girl.
Oh, yeah. They don't necessarily have to be the same age. She could be in college.
I like the idea that it's wow, you work at this coffee shop? It's yeah, I need the money to buy more of my fucking Arthur Lancelot ship stuff. It's oh. And every time Merlin hears that, he's oh, God, no!
And just,
yeah, he's the thing is, the main protagonist is going to the coffee shop where she still can't see Morgana yet. so only you can hear it. It's just oh my, stop talking to this girl, please.
I need more money to buy my fanfic stuff.
I need more money to buy my dojins.
She's a fanfic writer. Her Her domain is a fanfic, like, oh, it's a movie theater that's themed after, like, and it has, and, like, you have to go into each one of, like, the little, like, movie set, quote unquote, and each, like, it's like, oh, this is a fanfic in which they're, like, it's like a coffee AU, and you have to fight inside of a coffee shop, and then the next one is like, oh, this one's like an Arabian Nights kind of like AU. You have to kind of.
This one is like
what is
fucking
happening?
enemies to fucking lovers.
Enemies to lovers, but it's a huge battlefield.
It's like, what is happening?
Oh.
I want on, like, if it's like on the movie theater one, if it's like gonna be in the background, can there just be like a shitty AMV that they made or some shit?
Oh my god, that would be so fucking good.
Like, just
No, they're forced to watch it. Like as a scene transition into the next area.
Oh my god, and then like her shadow self, because they'll fucking turn into monsters. Her fucking shadow self could be like a fucking puppeteer, and she could be controlling like Arthur and Lancelot, and she could be. Oh my god, she's Guinevere. She's dressed up as Guinevere.
Oh my, she's Guinevere, and she's and the fight isn't even with her persona. It's the puppets. It's the Arthur and Lancelot puppets.
Yeah, and you're destroying her like.
you're destroying my slash fiction.
I know, you're ruining my fan fiction. Oh, that sounds so fucking good.
And like
so fucking good.
And like when you defeat her, she like opens up about like she's actually like a really lonely person, you know, and like she's only had her like grandmother to support her or something, you know, like. And it's just like she the world is harsh, and she has to kind of like fucking dive deep into this, or else like she feels like. Because in this world, it's the only place that makes sense to her, you know?
Yeah.
But then, like, I think my favorite part will be, like, so they're the mid-boss, but then they have to re-enter their dungeon, essentially, with the party. And, like, the dialogue choices of just being, like, so... I can't believe I allowed myself to to believe that this was, like, a real fucking thing, you know? Because it's such a tantalizing dream when you're in it, but then you're like, oh god, it's a cringe. When you're, like, out of it.
Yeah.
Oh god,
like,
you go back.
You
go
watched
back
my
to
AMV? I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah, you watched my AMV. You go back to her fucking like her area, and she's like, "I've moved on to a different ship now." Arthur Merlin. God.
Yeah, Merlin's just like, why? Why do you like this? See, the thing is, we have, like, all of these characters that I can't help but think about, like, the best friend character. I'm like, what would his domain be? Because it's, like... Because he's, like, feels the most different out of all of them.
Oh my god, okay, so what if his domain is, like third to the last one, right? So third to the last domain, and what happens is just that, like, he gets, like, we can make it like super cheesy, right? Like, he gets jealous that all these other people are coming into like the main character's life, and he's not spending enough time. They like, it's like, I feel like I'm losing you, man. Like, we could just do something like that, you know? And then like that activates his domain, and his domain, like, I still like the idea that his persona is like Leonidas, so I'm going off of that. So like his domain is like is like an ancient city of Rome, like huge, you know, like kind of vibe where he's like the Herculean champ, because in his mind, like, he just wants to be like the forefront to that person, you know. I just, you know, and it's a corrupted like ideal. God damn, we have so much here, but we have to stop the episode.
No, we're just gonna keep going for 6 hours.
Okay, so
until we completely flesh out all these characters.
So this is what's gonna happen. We are going to go ahead and stop it here, but we are coming back next Sunday, and we're gonna try to finish up some of these ideas, or at least try to refine some of them. So over the course of the week, we're probably gonna talk about these ideas a little bit more. just between ourselves and like Amanda, Nate. If I'm gonna assign this project to you.
If you think I am not currently drawing the goth one, fucking mistaken.
We should come up with names. We should come up with like persona, because I think that's another thing. Is just like we got to figure out some of the persona ideas too. Like I like this idea that some of the persona, like the persona is clearly inspired by like their MMO equivalent or like their obsession equivalent. So it's a mix between the character that the lore of the character that's based off of, and also their obsession. The same way that like Futaba had a UFO, or Ryuji had a pirate. You know, now that I'm thinking about that one, doesn't make much sense. But still, like the idea is that
he's Captain Kid. No,
Captain Kid.
He says it so enthusiastically, man. You can't get over it.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, because now I'm going to have to write a part 1 to this podcast episode, and we'll come back next week and we'll have a more refined version. I do think that like the escapism idea is super great for our base characters. I do think we need to refine a little bit more of it, but I also want that, like, I'm also hoping we can keep that Durara idea of just like kind of amassing like a group of like unintentional followers. And something that I want to talk to you guys a little bit is if we are going to include optional characters, because I love the concept of optional characters. In old school RPGs, you'd follow that character's path, and like it's like, oh, like, you know, like maybe like you can put like 2 optional characters, you know, like how Vincent Valentine and Yuffie are in 7, you know, because that's the thing. I like secrets like that, you know, like I was like, oh, if you complete this social link, like, you know, and it's before this date, you know, you can get this character in your party. Obviously, it'd be like a lot of work for the developers to include an extra character in these conversations. But, you know, you could also make it so that maybe they're super busy, so they don't show up in half the social stuff, but like they'll still text you or something, you know? So like, yeah, I hope you guys are having fun. I'm at the bar singing my songs or whatever. Or
so the bard could be like one of those optional characters.
Yeah, we can shoot the shit on some of these ideas, because I also like failed dojo, kind of like everyone's going to gyms now and no one wants to go to these dojos kind of like character. I like that.
You want your fucking Cobra Kai moment?
I want my Cobra Kai moment, yeah. But that also doesn't have. I'm thinking like a character who's like in their like 50s or 60s, you know, heavily like, and like maybe the athletics character could be like, oh my god, you're so and so. You used to be in all these horrible movies I love.
all of those cheesy kung fu movies.
And then oh man,
didn't you get your ass kicked by that one famous guy?
we don't
we don't talk about that. Fuck you.
I don't want to talk
Fuck
about
you,
it.
kid.
Because I mean, you'll always have some, like, you can have your Jackie Chan movie and you can have your Bruce Lee movie, but there were people who knew karate in those movies that never became famous.
Exactly. And you know what? I want the goth girl and our athletics boy to be super into it.
Oh yeah, like they're both super into fucking kung fu movies.
That's the thing. I want our characters. Before we go, I just want to emphasize this real quick. The one thing I want more than anything is all the characters should feel like friends. Like the way that Persona 4 did it, where it's like all the characters can have their own individual likes and interests, but they all come together for like certain things. You know, whether it's going out for drinks, you know, or fucking, you know, like having like niche things they're really into. Because I think that like, you know, maybe part of the social link for Gunpla Girl is kind of like watching the show with her, and then like part of that social link also involves another character in the group of friends, you know, like the MILF, like the idol MILF is like, oh, my son's into this, can I watch it with you guys? It's like, yeah, sure. And then like every time the social link happens, it's like you're watching, because she has like the whole series on DVD, right? She has like all of it like on Blu-ray, DVD, Blu-ray, fucking like, you know, the old 70s version, which was on VHS tapes. You know, and then like every time you do the social link, like another character will come and watch it with you. You know?
Yeah. It'd be really cute.
All right. We have to go. We have to go, guys. Thank you so much for listening to us ramble. I hope that you guys enjoyed our little bit here. Oh, this is fun. This was a really good time.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
So
Hell yeah.
so we will come back next week with some more refined ideas, and maybe we can even like get some art generated for it, who knows, and kind of go from there. I think my big thing is I'm gonna be thinking a lot about like the social media aspect of it, because I do really like the concept of them having like some sort of way to, like, you know, because one of the themes obviously is that, hey, society fucking sucks, you know, Persona 5, you know, society fucking sucks, you know, like we like not even rebellion, but just a support system, you know. Just
Yeah.
having other people, you know, to like, maybe it's not even like they actively help, it's more like, you know, maybe you do have that moderator who helps, but like, you know, there's like links to like, you know, like therapy and, you know, like therapists and stuff like that, like, you know, there's, you know, all sorts of dumb stuff, like the community kind of helps each other, but no one knows, much like Durara, no one knows who really runs it, you know. And maybe much like all like great forums, some problems start stemming from that. People claim that they got like advice from this place, but it's, you know, while it starts off as a really good idea, maybe like problems stem from people being like assholes and using it for really bad stuff. And like, oh, it's okay, like you can share what went wrong, and then like they publicize it and becomes one of your side quests. Save this person before they fucking kill themselves, or something like that, you know, like just something like horrible, you know, something like really, like, that's the thing, we're M for mature, we can really just tackle some of these subjects, and we'll come back next week and talk more about it, because if I'm here, I'm just gonna keep going, because I really like doing this.
That's very fair.
Oh god. All right, guys, we'll be back next week for more of this. You know, we gotta come with names. We've got to come with some names, and I think if you're in the server, and if we start coming up with some of the stuff, we should like start writing it down. You know, like what's our like main character's default name and stuff like that. Like we'll start getting some of the stuff down. So, anyways, guys, we'll catch you next week.
Yay.